So if you focus your attention, that's what
Yeah.
that comes down to the reticular activating system, the RAS filter. It's kind of like when you buy a car, what sort of car have you got?
BMW.
Yeah, beautiful, nice car, beautiful
Typical
car.
Asian, you know.
It's a black one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a black one. Hey guys, welcome back to the Bro and a Pro podcast, where we hope to help you reach your full potential, whether that be inside or outside the gym. I'm your main host, Jeremy So, self-proclaimed gym bro, and today I have a very special guest. He is a client, an old PT client. Let me just start things off. He was an old PT client. He came back as an online client, achieved phenomenal results in the 12 weeks we have been working together, is gunning for that 12-week challenge win with S Legion. I'd like to welcome Josh from Level Head. How are you?
Yeah, man, good. As you were sort of saying that, I was just sort of reflecting and thinking, that was about 8 or 9 years ago when we first met, right?
Yeah, it would have been
Uh,
like when I first started PT around then.
yeah,
8 years ago.
100%.
Now I think about it.
Yeah, so yeah, good times. Yeah, we worked with each other back then for a bit, and then we go our separate ways. We go on with life,
Yeah.
and here we are back again, joining forces, and you helped me, yeah, really make some big achievements in my body goals.
Yeah. And you know what? When I think about it, I think the first time we worked together was during I would have helped you with PT. I think I helped you a little bit with nutrition back there like 8 years ago because you were doing a wedding prep. That was the last
Yeah,
time that was the last time we worked together because I remember like, oh yeah, we're doing a wedding prep because you had a wedding coming up, you smashed it, you got down to your absolute lowest and you're happy, you were lean for your wedding and everything like that. And then I guess like what kind of happened after that? Like what was your journey after that? Like what happened between the time that we didn't talk to each other or work together?
well, I got married and then I just got comfortable, right?
Relationship weight, very normal, man.
Yeah, 100%, 100%, bro. So, yeah, I sort of steered away from that for a little bit, the body side of things, and I just sort of, life takes over, and over the years started stacking on some weight, and yeah, like it wasn't anything I was really worried about, but I got to a point with the stuff that I'm doing now, I was like, which is in the wellbeing space, it was kind of like I can't really help other people if I just let myself go either, right? So it was an awesome opportunity over the last 12 weeks working with you to prove the gains or the losses that I made, and to really show people how quickly you can make changes with the right support and with the right mindset.
Yeah, and I think it's so important. Sometimes your parents, we're very similar in the way that, when we focus on something, we hyper focus into it a lot. We give our energy to it, we give our all to it. Up to a certain point, we start to realize, we might have let ourselves a little bit go and we didn't find that balance, and then now I'm sure you're all about like, being in a healthy balance, like gotta look after yourself, gotta fill your own cup before you can start to fill other people's cups, right?
Absolutely. Balance is key. And, it's kind of like walking on a tightrope, walking on a fence line, whatever it might be, just finding different parts of life and leveling them out, because one part affects every other part of life in one way or another. So, yeah, finding that balance is the absolute key for sure.
Yeah. And I'm trying to look back and to see how much weight we ended up losing for this challenge. Do you know what it was? We started at 113 and got down to about, I think, 96.
96.2. So we're looking at 15.8 kilos in 12 weeks.
15.8 kilos. Yeah. So I'll pretty much put it before and after so everyone could see. But yeah, that was amazing. Like 15 something kilos in 12 weeks. And it wasn't perfect, right? It was pretty much like there was some weeks where you went 100%, and it was fine though because you still ended up losing that weight, right?
Yeah, that's right. There was about three stages that came up during the 12 weeks where I just sort of jumped off the bandwagon a bit and, sort of ate a bit shit, different things happening in life, stresses, emotions, sleep, whatever it might be. But I just put it back into my mind and go, you've had a day off. You're going to do 6 great days now. You're still moving forward, right? And I think this is where a lot of people get lost, right? Is they go really hard for a few weeks. They go so hard, and then they have that 1 or 2 days off, and then they think, oh no, I haven't been able to do it. No, this is no good, and then they give up. But that's that energy to just push through and really want to make something of yourself and get those goals. You just gotta keep pushing, right? It's
100%.
100% key, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. So it's funny because there's this analogy, right? Like, it's talking about like driving a car. When you're driving a car towards your destination, it's like you pop a tire along the way. Do you shoot all four tires and just go back or just stay there, or do you like rechange the tire and keep going to your destination, right? And it's kind of like that, especially when you have that 1 or 2 days that you have off. It's like shooting a tire. It's like, all right, well, do I just completely just destroy my car, or do I just change my tire and keep going? And everyone's going to probably say, I'll change my tire and keep going. And I'm like, that's exactly it. That's all you can do, right?
yeah, exactly. And like they see the car as an asset, but people are going to remember like them themselves, they're an asset too. So if you're going to burn the car, you might as well burn yourself. So
Yourself, take it all and your wallet.
yeah.
Sweet. And then you know what's been crazier? You did this, you lost about 15 kilos whilst doing FIFO, right?
Yeah. So I currently do a 4 and 3 roster, which isn't too bad for FIFO. I do get my weekends home, but still being away, sometimes the choices on site are not always the greatest. So for me, I did Saturday cook up, sometimes Sunday, whenever I could fit it in.
Yeah.
Freeze my meals and then take them up the site with me. And yeah, that's really 100%. That really helped me stay on track, especially on site, because if I'd just gotten up there and then chose things out at site, I'd sort of be throwing it away and thinking, oh, yeah, no, maybe I'll get something different today, or oh, I'm just gonna have a sausage roll. Fuck it. No.
And there are those times, and I think
Yeah.
like I said, you just kept pushing through. And some weeks I was just like, bro, let's just get back on track. That's all I can say. And you'd be like, all right, yeah, I'm gunning. Like Monday, I'm gone. Like it's happening, and you just kept going. And 15 kilos is phenomenal. Like honestly, it's in 12 weeks, that's almost like a whole kilo lost per week, which is not generally normal for a lot of people. But when you have that drive, you use that motivation, and then you push through. Even through all the hurdles that came across or the bumps in the road, you just overcame those and just kept going, which was like really good.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember a few weeks ago. I remember actually probably at least 6 weeks ago. I remember saying to you that I would imagine just each cell of fat was a little fuel tank, and I was just burning some more fuel, and I was just emptying each one of those tanks. So creating and I used to, or still do now, even just imagine or see the body that I want to create and feel like I've already got it, and that would keep the mood and the elevation right up there, which really helps. So
yeah, it's like almost like setting that long-term visualization of what you want to achieve or who you want to be, and creating that identity for who you are right now. Like, would being this lean individual be doing this? Like it's that ability to understand your identity, and like kind of taking you to push to make the right decisions and be like, okay, I'm gonna get back on track. Because people who live this lifestyle will make mistakes, will have bumps in the road, will go out and eat and have bad weeks. It's very normal. But I think it's the ability to be like, okay, well, no, they will jump back on track though. Like, I'm gonna have bad weeks as well. Like people think I lived the health and fitness lifestyle my whole life. And I've let myself go. And obviously now I'm trying to get back on track myself. But it happens to all of us. And, it's like now it's different because I didn't lose weight for the first 4 weeks of my dieting phase when I started getting back on track. And then I could have given up. A lot of people would have just given up after 4 weeks of not seeing any progress. But then I was like, no, this is the lifestyle I want to live, and this is who I want to be. Like I want to be healthier. I want to live the fitness lifestyle more. And so I just kept going, and then I started losing weight. So it's just all trusting that process as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, it's a lifestyle change, right? I don't really like the word diet as much, because diets, you have all these fad diets and all that sort of crap out there. But if you change the wording, rather than going, I'm on a diet, you can say I'm on a lifestyle. Your mind sort of starts to go, oh, this is okay. It's something that you'll start to lock in long term. you can still go out and like, jump into some
100%.
other meals and whatever. But,
Have a few
you know,
drinks if you want, like special occasions, but then you make the right calls. It's like you're not drinking every day when no one's around. You probably be drinking, oh, maybe there's a birthday coming up, so I'm gonna have some drinks that day. It's like totally fine, and it's not gonna revert you back to who you were before if you, as long as you keep that progress and keep trying. But I guess that's pretty much a lot about what we've achieved. But I want to talk about what do you do. So you're Josh from Levelhead. So you do something amazing at what the company that you're working for, which is phenomenal. What are you guys doing?
So currently I'm in two spaces. So when I'm in FIFO, I'm working up on site as a wellbeing specialist. So essentially very much in mental health space, because people working away from home, not being able to see their families, or events happen at home that can't get home, relationship issues, all that sort of stuff. So being a wellbeing specialist, I've got a lot of skills over the last few years, nearly 4 years now, in neuro-linguistic programming, which is NLP, mindset coaching, and hypnosis is another thing that I do with people on site, which I'm actually getting some really good results. So,
Yeah.
And it's been an interesting take up there. So what I'm doing up there at the moment is very much a pilot program in the FIFO space. So, which I was amazed at the opportunity that I was able to jump into this. So I've spent the time I'm working on myself over the last few years to create and move into this spot, and I just slid right in there, But yeah, it's essentially just helping people find clarity, direction as well. If it doesn't have to be the mental health space, very much want to work in the preemptive mental health rather than waiting till we get down to that cycle of feeling shitty or bad about things. Or it's about building up resilience. It's about finding even your purpose in life, clarity, direction. There's so many people out there that aren't really sure where they're going, and I was one of them many years ago, and we might touch on that later. But it's kind of like a ship in the ocean, right? If a ship's bopping around, if there's no captain at the helm, it'll never make it to port. It'll just keep bopping around, and there's so many ships out there with no captains. So it's about taking the helm and really taking control of your life and steering that ship in the direction, the port that you want to get to. So yeah.
And obviously you do this in the FIFO world, and is there a big problem in mental health, especially when you work in FIFO?
I think mental health is really everywhere, right?
Yeah.
It's just at the moment, especially media outlets and whatnot, there's such big focuses. So wherever our attention is put towards, that's what's enhanced. So if we sort of focus on FIFO, which has had big media spotlights on them over the last year or two at least, you can really start to notice more about it. I think everyone's got their issues or mental health things happening, but yeah, it's just where the spotlight is. Essentially, watching people and holding that space for them, being that soundboard for them, it's awesome to be able to give them that area where there's no judgment, and there's just there's that confidentiality. Everything that's shared with me, I don't share to a single soul, and it takes a lot to build up that trust, especially on site, because over so many years, so many people have had their trust broken by different areas, different departments, different bosses, whatever they might be. So, if I lost the trust of one person on site, I might as well get on a plane and never come back, because I could do 1,000 good things up there, but you do one bad thing, and that's the thing that everyone talks about, right?
Yeah, don't remember that one thing, the negative thing, and that's it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, no, go.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. No,
No, you're right. Go.
Yeah. So going back, how did you get into working with Levelhead, and what kind of made you decide to have that shift into this?
Back in 2020, I was working on another mine site, and I'd just been awarded an apprenticeship. I was about to start the very next week. So a lot of exciting things for me at that point in time, making some changes. And then I made a choice on site, which actually cost me my job, which then cost me my apprenticeship. And it sort of woke me up a bit and made me start to be, without even trying to, become self-aware of what I was actually doing in life. Previous to this, back in sort of 2008, I tried to take my own life. And then a month later, I lost my best mate. And throughout the years between then until 2020, when I lost my job, in that area, I was using a lot of alcohol and drugs to sort of numb my emotions, not feeling my feelings, just bottling everything up. I remember my best mate's funeral. I never even shed a tear because I was never taught how to show emotion. It just wasn't something normal in the environment that I grew up in. So yeah, I started really just facing into what it is in life. What's my purpose? What am I doing? Next minute, I start looking at the mind and how the brain works. Then I'm signed up for a diploma in life coaching and then neurolinguistics. And then here I am today. So yeah, I kind of needed to hit the bottom to make me want to make those changes. It was that point when I realized it had to be me. It had to be now. I needed to get out there and create the life that I wanted. So when I lost my job, that was the one thing I was always really good at. Was showing up to my career, being a good worker, never really having sick days, just always, and then to be let go so sort of abruptly, it really hurt. So that dropped me for a while. But from there, I just started to wake up and go, what the fuck am I doing with my life? And I just started asking questions to myself, just without even knowing I was doing self-awareness assessments.
Yeah.
And I just kept stepping into that space and starting to understand more about why I was showing up in the world, how I was. You know, our past experiences paint our future picture. It's just, unless we go in and change it. It's kind of like, think about someone that's sort of gone, they're scared of sharks, right? Think about a shark. They may not have even seen a shark, but they've seen a movie. They've seen Jaws 1, Jaws 2, Jaws 3. But that there creates a fear, an image in the mind, so they're scared of the sharks. Hasn't even happened to them, right? But then you've got other people who have had past experiences where they've been hurt, so then they start to build the ego and start to create a wall so that people can't hurt them anymore, which was definitely an area where I was growing up. We moved 26 times before I was even 16, so moved around a lot, and didn't have the support network around me and my sister. So to be honest, where I am today is I'm honestly super proud of even my sister where she is now, compared to where we were for many, many years, a couple of years even on the streets. So yeah, it's been an interesting ride, and yet I'm so grateful for it because all of those experiences have made me who I am today. I can see so many silver linings out of them now. So yeah.
It's like almost like that saying, it's like you're connecting the dots from, you know, where you were before, like it led you to who you are right now. And, you know, that future of painting that picture, you have control of painting that, you know, new picture if you decide to change it. But you have to connect the dots and visualize what you want to do. So let's go back to a little bit about, I want to know more about, so when you made that switch, how did you decide I want to look into mental health, how the brain works? Like, was there like an ad? Was there like you know, what kind of made you look into it? Was it something like you just jumped on Google and searched it? Like, what did you do? Like,
so the catalyst, the actual catalyst for me, right, was the fact of when I lost my job. Naturally, you lose your finances, right? So I realized someone else was in control of my finances, so someone else is in control of my life. So I was like, okay, I want to start creating. I want to make money in other ways. So then I started looking at, you know, how to essentially get extra income streams, you know, multiple income streams. Then I started looking into millionaires and billionaires and what they were doing, and I started trading cryptocurrency. I lost like 40 grand in the first 6 months. Like, I'm not even joking.
Oh shit.
Bro,
okay.
It was, and so when I lost that, that's when I realized, that's when I stepped into the brain and the mindset, because I was like, what's happening now? And it was emotional trading. It was that fear of missing out. And so then I started to understand more. The very first book, I've actually got it right here because I love this book, by Dr. Joe Dispenza. So, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. This book here was 100% like massive part of the catalyst of me making the change in my life. Understanding the mind, seeing my future, not living in fear, living in a status of belief and believing in myself, believing that I can have good things in life and that I will create them. And I just kept stepping into that, and now I'm 100% doing really well. I've got 5 income streams, so a couple of businesses, my on-site stuff, and we're in a better position than we have in our whole life, which is rather amazing. But before that even happened, I already created the happiness. I sort of started to minimalize. I wear some of the shabbiest clothes now, and I really don't care what people think. Whereas the old me, it was massive retail therapy, like go and buy expensive clothes and cars and toys, and it was sort of that sort of showing off or trying to fill the void in life. And the void was me not feeling my emotions in my past and leaning into that. Now there is no void, so I don't always need all this other crap in life, this material stuff. Don't get me wrong; it's great to have good stuff in life. But
Good.
now I'd
Treat
like things
yourself
that,
occasionally, but
yeah, yeah,
sparingly, not like a full, like, yeah, you need it. Yeah.
yeah. Like I bought some stupid stuff, man. I had like a commercial popcorn machine. I had a solarium. I had like just stuff I didn't need, man. And I'd be like, oh yeah, this is great. And then like a week later, I'd go buy something else. And it was just that was sort of my vice, one of my vices. I had many vices, but yeah,
That's
that
fun.
was definitely one of my vices. So yeah, man, it was an insane journey and it's only been 3.5 years nearly now from where I was to where I am now, and yeah, I'm ever so grateful for everything now. But I needed to create this myself. And at that point in time, I didn't have any coaches or anything around me. Now I do have coaches around me. You, for one of them, is my body coach. I have a mindset coach. I even do stuff like psychologist stuff. Yeah, people work on the body, right, which is awesome. But then who really like 100% works on the mind? And this thing never stops. And yet the mindset is a huge part in the whole body side.
100%. Yes.
Yeah, so it's kind of like working out the mind, or even just giving it a rest because it never really stops.
Yeah, it's so true that your mind has to go before your body goes. That I don't know. That's I've heard that saying before. So it's like your
Yeah,
mind has to go before your body goes, and so like it applies in this situation that you gotta, like, as we've been talking about, it's like you've got to believe in yourself more before you're gonna achieve it. Like, you're gonna believe you're gonna win the challenge. You're gonna believe you're living this lifestyle, and then you made it happen. No matter the ups and downs, you just like, nah, this is what I want to achieve. This is who I believe in myself, and that's all you need. And as you do coaching as well, mindset coaching, it's the same thing. Like, we only can do so much. We only help to break down info and what you tell us, but it's up to you to kind of rewire the brain, right?
yeah, absolutely. Like I don't in my space, I don't tell someone how to run their life
Yeah.
or what to do, but I use powerful questioning to raise the answer of their subconscious mind.
Yeah.
So everyone sort of has their own answers; they just don't know it. I generally call it spaghetti head. It's just
Yeah.
everything just all scrambled up, and it's about finding that clarity and just picking things out and start to go and give them little aha moments using metaphors, using stories, bits and pieces. So whatever helps them find the answer, because a good teacher won't really tell them, but will allow them to find the answer themselves, which is empowering, right?
Yeah.
So you empower the client, and it's amazing what they can do.
Yeah, the mind is very, very strong. And so you're pretty much working out there, helping a lot of people. What is one of the, oh, I guess we can't really go too much in depth about like clientele and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But what do you find? Obviously, you faced a lot of adversities in the past and you overcame them. What is your number one what is one of your tips for someone that has some adversities, that have some obstacles they have to overcome?
I think when it comes down to the obstacles and adversities, it's about support. You know, uh, if we have the support, we can get through the dark times. But without it, and I've been quite lucky along my journey. I've had the people around me, and that's been amazing. But if the support's not there, it's about seeking it, right? So, and which can be scary, and I fully understand that, especially for sometimes for men too. Like there's still a lot of stigma around that, and mental health, and facing up to problems, showing emotion, whatever it might be. So yeah, I just say just jump in there and find some support, and a place where you can be open and honest with yourself, which is most important, and being authentic. Because if you're not going to be open and honest and authentic, then you're not really going to get out what you need in that situation. So whatever it might be, and there's a process, right, for healing or getting through things. Everyone has their own sort of way of getting through, but like 100%, I think it's support, and that's what I've found working with the people on site has been super. I remember my first couple of months was definitely a lot slower. No one knows me, and I'm just some other guy. But luckily, I've got 15 years of mining experience behind me as well. which helps me because I can understand the struggles they go through working away from home, night shifts. So there's the sleep and fatigue issues there, not being able to see their family, and just working at, like, you've obviously got extreme temperatures, long hours, all these sorts of things. I think, well, I know so now, but just being able to relate when we have, and when I'm talking with them, I'm not sort of just sitting there and going, hey, tell me everything. I'll open up my experiences, my vulnerabilities, and share stuff about me in the right way that we just open a two-way conversation. So by doing that, it just, when I share my vulnerabilities, the other person is able to allow their ego to drop because they feel safer. And I'm quite comfortable with that now. So yeah, imagine if we could all be like that, right? Imagine if we could all just express and not feel judged or not even be judged by other people. Honestly, the world would be a much nicer place, but we've got a long way to go.
A lot of expectations out there, right, of what is perceived, and that's probably due to like social media and like the culture in itself. Like social media has given this idea that you have to be a certain way if you do something, right? And I think, yeah, it's a very tough, it's tough at the moment. But that's why there's people like yourself who are helping individuals find their clarity and get rid of their spaghetti brain.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess, like, do you think health is super important as well, accompanied with obviously a good mindset?
Health, like, as in body health?
Yeah, body health. Yeah, body health. We can talk about physical.
Absolutely. Yeah. The physical body is a massive part in how we feel. So, going to the gym, it might be hard for the first couple of weeks. Well, I think we've all been there. You've been there. I've been there. And we feel like we've got no energy before that. And yet after a few weeks, you start to create energy. You're using more energy, but you start creating energy.
Yeah.
But it's about getting through that point, and it's also about creating a new habit. So every time we want to create a new habit, which takes anywhere from, experts say, anywhere from 3 weeks to up to sort of 40 days, we have to create a new pathway, and we have to keep repeating it, repetition. So the neural pathways connect, the synapses can activate, and then we keep using it, create a new superhighway, and then the old habit can disappear. But yeah, it's about stepping into that and just keep working on it. But health is so important. I think more people should 100% be focusing on their body as well. And if they did, then they would be feeling a lot better in themselves. But it's kind of just like grabbing that fucking horse and trying to make it drink.
Drink water. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink it.
You can't make it drink. Oh, so many times you just want to dunk their head in the water and make them drink because you know it's the best thing for them, and you're only trying to do the best for them, but you just can't make people do that. It's that free choice, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like, even with how I coach people, I can't force someone to do it. Like, I'll be like, if you can't do it, if you don't want to do it, I understand. I can, say everything I can say. I'll be like, what's your vision? What's your long-term goal? What's your short-term goal? We got to look at the bigger picture. And then even through all of that, they might be like, nah, don't want to do it. Like, they might not be ready at the time. And I think timing is important. Sometimes, it's got to be the right time. Like, obviously, being FIFO, when you're working like long hours and stuff, like night shifts, day shifts, it can be very tiring. How do people overcome that? Like, how do you help people who work those long hours and are losing their sleep?
For me, the people that I'm actually working with,
yeah,
we set up a program and then I just hold them accountable.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of people, that's all they need is accountability. We rock up to our job because our boss makes us accountable. We have to show up, right?
Yeah.
So the same thing with the gym. If our coach, mindset specialist, whatever, makes us accountable, we're kind of like, oh, I've got to do this, or they're going to absolutely rip me one. So accountability is really, really powerful. Sometimes you just sort of think it'd be nice if they just wanted to do it for themselves too, but it just sometimes takes a little bit longer, and they need someone else to help push them and hold them accountable. Once they get to the stage, that 3-4 weeks later, then they can be holding their own. But it's about getting there first, right? That's definitely one of the hard parts.
And I think they're saying, I did say this in my last podcast, is all it takes is one person to believe in you. Like, to believe that you can do it, and that accountability, like, I believe you can do it. Like, I have never doubts when I'm talking to my clients. I'm like, I believe you can do it. until they decide to give up themselves, and I can't really put it, like I said, I can't make the horse drink the water, then it's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much done. It's just like, well, I can't do anything else. I've tried everything, giving you my all, and the education's there. It's like, you give someone a book, but you can't make them open up and read it, right? And as
Yeah.
a online coach, obviously, what I do, I have to give people programs, and I'm like, but I can't force them to follow it. Like, and then I'd be like, hey, have you followed it? They could be either yes or no. And like, there's only so much you can do. If they be like, yeah, I did, but then they didn't. You're only failing yourself.
Yeah, yeah. And you're right. Like, I think especially in our space where if they haven't quite got the belief system for themselves, we're sort of projecting our belief system onto them, which then gives them the courage and inspiration to keep going. So yeah, that's where that comes in for sure. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, I love it, man. And sweet. And so, we don't want to talk too much about it, but you have future plans for Levelhead with Levelhead.
Yeah, yeah. So I've actually brought my best mate into the business as well. His name is also Josh.
Oh, really? Two
Yeah,
Joshes.
yeah, two Joshes. And what's really interesting, right? He was actually part of the debacle of when I lost my job. So there was a good few months where we didn't actually speak to each other because I put a lot of blame on him for some bits and pieces that he did around it. But I just needed to go through my grieving process at that point in time. And then we just reconnected again because once I learned more about the mindset and moving through that and holding on to grudges and holding on to fears and pains and stuff is the worst thing you can do. You just got to let it go. As also from Frozen sings, let it go, let it go. You know?
Yeah, yeah. It probably takes more energy holding grudges.
Yeah, that's right. Like, why hold on to things that hurt you? I kind of think about, you've probably heard the analogy, the snake that wraps its body around the sword, and the tighter it squeezes, the more it gets cut and the more it starts to bleed. And yet, as the snake becomes more and more tired, it starts to let go. And the more it let go, the less pain it feels. And then it starts to feel more relaxed. And then until finally it's able to let go and then slither away. If it kept holding on tighter and tighter, it just kills itself, right? And that's what so many people do. They hold on to grudges. I'm not saying to forgive people 100%, but you need to at least forgive yourself and be able to move forward. If you can forgive them, beautiful. That's even better. But also, if people have crossed boundaries, you don't want to allow them to cross into different boundaries and
there's different
disrespect.
levels.
Yeah, there's different levels. So let's not get that out of hand. But yeah, 100%. Like it was a pure mistake what Josh had done as well. But I'm so proud of where he's going forward now. So he's now stepping into the coaching space. He's doing his diplomas and masters. So yeah, together we're going to be doing a lot of stuff around the mining and also building something here in Perth. So yeah,
Look forward to
watch
it.
this
It's
space.
exciting.
Yeah.
For sure. And I guess if you could go back in time and talk to your old self, what would you say to them?
Oh, what would I say to myself? Get your shit together sooner, Josh. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, nothing. Like every experience has essentially, whether that be pain, joy, everything has made me who I am today. You know, and that's the important part: is just acknowledge and respect what has happened to you, and use it to your advantage, rather than play the victim. Play the fucking hero, and be the hero of your own journey.
Yeah, love it. That is literally words taken out of my mouth as well. I would say exactly that. Like, people ask me, like, what would you say to yourself? I'm like, oh, actually nothing, because it made me who I am today. So
Yeah,
I'm proud
I
of who
I
I
know
am.
that.
Yeah, I
Oh,
own
wow.
that shit. I partied heaps, did all my past stuff,
Yeah, bro.
but like it gave me the experience I needed. And then I can look back and be like, yeah, like, I could have done things differently and yeah, got my shit together earlier, but would it make me who I am today? Probably not. So that's why I'm grateful for it. And I think it's a sort of maturity that you build over time and acceptance as well, and actual growth in yourself, because having that growth mindset is super important.
Yeah, 100%. And like what you just said there, like how you're grateful for that. Gratitude is such a powerful practice. It's something that I use every day. I will literally, at certain times of the day, I even have alarms for it still. An alarm will go off, and it's like my attitude of gratitude. So I will look around for 3 different things to be grateful for right now in this moment. Rather than being comparative and comparing myself to others, I'm just grateful for what I do have, rather than being ungrateful for what I don't have. It's really powerful.
That's something I probably have to add to my list of things to do because
Yeah, right.
that sounds pretty good. Like if you guys are listening, you have to give that a go. I think it's something that I've been researching on more about, and being grateful is a huge thing to kind of boost your mental performance and like just like be happy where you are, because I think we're always chasing the next best thing, and social media has created this sort of idea that we just get things quickly, and everything that you want to succeed in takes time and patience. And so use that. Sometimes you got to use that drive to push you harder, but then you've also got to take a step back and realize how far you've come.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like just be grateful for like anything. Honestly, I can think of right now just three things. I'm grateful for the opportunity to do this podcast with you, Jeremy. I'm grateful for the lighting in this room because otherwise you wouldn't be able to see me.
Yeah,
I'm grateful
yeah.
for the phone that I have to record me doing this. I'm grateful for the oxygen that's out there, the trees, everything. It's as simple as shoes, right? If I had no shoes, I'd be running around and I'd probably be crying when it's a hot summer's day here in Western Australia because my feet are on fire.
Yeah.
Just little things. Be grateful for all the little things, and you'll start to. This is how you start to rewire your mindset from a negative mindset to a positive mindset. It's 100% a tool that I use with people on site, my clients, everything. Start to see more of the things to be grateful for and the good things, then you start to enhance that because what you focus on expands. So if you focus your attention, that's what that comes down to the reticular activating system, the RAS filter. It's kind of like when you buy a car, what sort of car have you got?
BMW.
Yeah, beautiful, nice car.
Typical
Car.
Asian,
Yeah. It's a black one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a black one.
No, but
blacked out and everything.
Yeah.
I riced up a German car.
Yeah, I love it. But
Yeah.
like that car, you probably see them everywhere now, right? You see BMWs everywhere.
Because
it's because it aligns with your values. So your reticular activating system is focusing on that. That's something that you value or something that you enjoy. So yeah, the reticular activating system. Anyone that's listening today, like just start to look into it, because if you focus on certain things in life, if you focus on the negative things in life, that's all you'll see. You won't see all the great things that are happening around you. Think of a bus traveling down like a coastal road. You've got like some dark caves sort of on one side, dark and gloomy. And out the other side, there's a beautiful sunset, the ocean, birds, beautiful waves. Two people, one person on each side of the bus. One's looking at the scary dark side. The other one's looking at the beautiful sunrise and the ocean and listening to birds. They're on the same, like, it's just the perspective, right? If they switch positions, they'd see something different. So it's just a perspective. That's all it is.
I love it. And, there's obviously this idea that, you can train, it's like different parts of the brain. Like, there's this negative side and then you've got the positive. And to kind of like, a lot of people are generally negative because they always like want more. They're always like seeking more. They're always like, oh, I saw this person. And this is blaming social media, obviously, because, social media, people post the best things in their life. They never really post in the negative side, them being sad or crying or the bad things that happen often. It's always the positive. And so that's where this idea, like everyone thinks that they're not achieving what they should be achieving because they're like, oh, this person's doing this. Like, oh, there's always like the grass is always greener on the other side for some freaking reason.
Yeah. Social media has been like, for us, we love social media, being able to reach our clients.
Yes, there's positive for us.
Yeah. But I think about restricting time on social media too.
Yes.
So I generally use screen time. So in my Samsung phone, I can lock out certain apps, so I can only go on it for say an hour a day or something.
Yeah.
So then it maxes out and go, oh, you've hit an hour on this social media. Oh, okay, that's enough, and that keeps me stay aware, so that then I'm not spending. Well, I think the average now that people are spending on social media is like 7 to 8 hours.
Oh, in the day?
Yeah.
No,
I was seeing something the other day.
Really? Oh my goodness!
No wonder why no one's sleeping. Like.
I'm like, that's a bit too much. Like 7 to 8 hours is a decent amount. I'm an online coach, so my whole business is pretty much online. But then I only spend maybe like 2 hours, 3 hours max, on social media. I try to limit it as much as I can because I have to reply to messages. But what I try not to do is not look at too many stories or follow other people, like journey too much.
Mindless scrolling.
Right? That's what I try not to do. Yeah. So I only follow my clients, because my clients are my clients. So I'm going to watch their life because I need to make sure they're on track. Make sure they're on track. I'm just stalking them. If they're listening, they're probably like, damn, this guy's stalking me. But that's pretty much what I got to do. So that's the only time I kind of spend on there to see what my clients are doing.
Yeah, like it might not be. I just remember seeing something the other day. I don't do a lot of media stuff either now. If I want to learn about something, or if it's something really important that's happening in the world, I'll hear about it somewhere. Like our TV in our house doesn't even have normal TV. I ripped the cord out and it's gone.
Yeah.
So we don't watch general media. Like I'm not saying we don't have our Netflix and bits and pieces, but a lot now I spend my time in just like documentaries and learning and education. And I mean, YouTube's great for accessing education. Podcasts like this, awesome for
100%.
education. And things like this is awesome because you can be driving somewhere, but you can also listen and start to inform yourself with some information. So the podcasts are really powerful for that. Obviously, being careful who you're listening to, right? Like you got to make sure that they're credible and that they have experience and they know what they're talking about. Because anyone can sort of do anything out there these days, but 100% Jeremy knows what he's talking about because I lost 16 kilos.
Dude, that was all you. I literally just gave you a program, you followed it. That's literally it. I don't try to take too much credit because it comes down to you guys. Like you put in the effort, you earned it. I was just there to just give you a book and be like, here you go, here's the information. You just execute, and you did it really well. So that was it. But yeah, I try to get people like yourself on who just I just can feel like your energy, and I'm like, no, I want to share your story kind of thing and what you're doing. And that's why we're here.
Bro, really appreciate it.
Yeah. So I guess what's one quote that you live by? Is there like, if you had to choose one, you may have many. I know you're gonna have many. Maybe you can take the 2 or 3 if you want. That's fine by me. I'm sure the listeners won't mind.
Let's go 2. So one that I've really stepped into probably in the last 3-4 months actually is care not carry. So I use the care not carry because what was happening, especially me working in mental health, is I was sort of holding space for people, but I was very much like carrying their shit home with me. Shit being the technical term, by the way. But I was very much like, and there was that. I'm a very empathetic person as well, so energetically sort of feeling down when they were, and I was like, man, what am I doing? Like, this is killing me. Which was part of when I just started stacking on the kilos, stopped eating the right foods, wasn't looking after myself. Luckily now I have such self-awareness that like after 5 months I caught myself and I'm going, wow, this shirt's getting a bit tight, so I've got to sort me stuff out. But like, yeah, it was so care not carry has been a super one, literally just in the last 3 months. But outside of that, it's if you change nothing, nothing changes. So when I talk about that, it's like people wonder why they keep going through the same cycle because they keep doing the same things. If you change one thing, something changes. So it's about stepping into that space and starting to make even small changes at first, like just take some baby steps and just start moving forwards. And if you're going to fall over, just fall over forwards. So at least you're further than you were when you were standing up, right?
100%. That is a good way.
Yeah. But like even, if it's 1 step backwards, 2 steps forwards, you're still 1 step forward of where you were previously. And just, so 100%, I'm really in that. If you change nothing, nothing changes. And I use that one with clients a lot. And they sort of think, they sit on it for a moment and go, yeah, okay, that's maybe why my life's been doing the same shit for 35 years or whatever it might be, So then we start to we do a coaching program around that. We do look at values and beliefs, find clarity, direction, work out what they actually want in life, create a vision, and something so we can move forward in the direction that they want. It can be in any part of their life. I do something called a well-being wheel or a wheel of life. And I get them to rate themselves in different parts of their life from 0 to 10. So they'll rate themselves on their career or business, their romance, relationship with family and friends, fun and recreation, personal development growth, environment, like all these different areas. And then finances, that's another one. And they'll rate themselves. And then whatever they rate themselves the lowest on, that's what we'll probably start delving into with the 12-week coaching program and really start to find out what makes them tick why they do what they do, and we can really start to get them going in the right direction.
Love it, man. And I think one thing to touch on is like people are scared to make that change. You know, I think if you change nothing, nothing changes. And it's like people have to understand that the feeling of being uncomfortable, it's a fight or flight mechanism in your brain or something along those
Yeah.
lines. Like you're scared, your brain doesn't want to feel uncomfortable. So it's gonna make you chemically not want to make that change. And you've got to make that conscious effort to be like, no, it has to change. And I'm gonna get uncomfortable. It's gonna suck, but it's for the better. You've got to
Yeah.
believe that it's for the better.
Yeah. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable,
Yes.
because that's where the growth is.
Yeah.
In any form in life. So yeah, man, it's interesting just to even just stepping into that space, just thinking about how many times I push myself now to being uncomfortable, and I go, well, that's where the growth is. I'm stretching myself and I'm developing more and more and more. The brain's number one mechanism feature is to look after is to keep us alive. And that's where the fight or flight comes in. We start to release cortisol, all the negative neurochemicals. And it's just like it's trying to keep you safe, but it doesn't realize the difference between physical threats or social threats, or it just sees it as danger. And it goes, bah, 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 and just wants to run away.
That's how you get nerves and butterflies. It's like, let's say if you're not very good at public speaking, it could give you those sort of nerves. Even though it's a good thing, you just get nervous as shit because your brain's just like, nah, not used to this. We can't do it. And it's like this I don't know if you guys seen this Netflix series with Jonah Hill. I think it's called it's I don't know what's the name of it. If I remember the name, I'll tell you. But it's with Jonah Hill, and he talks about he talks to his therapist, and he talks about this idea that there's this the man called X or the X. So it's like the person, or it's like this part of your brain, or this they call it X. This X, whatever it is, and this X is like what is doubt, is like it stops you from trying to achieve anything, because anything outside your comfort zone, it's like man X. I have to kind of go into it a little bit more and figure it out exactly. I did watch it and I was like, this is amazing, but I forgot the analogy for it. But it's like there's always something trying to hold you back, and it's this fear that yes, it's always going to tell you no, you can't do it, you can't do it, you can't do it, and all the self-doubt and the negative thoughts, and you're going to do it to yourself, but you got to talk to yourself nicer. You have to be careful of your internal thoughts and dialogue, because I think that's so important in the greater scheme of things. You got to tell yourself, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I'm going to do this. I don't know if that's something.
No, 100%. That actually relates really well. So part of something I did as well, I did what they call snap therapy. So I don't wear it as much anymore, but I'll wear rubber bands or something on my wrist. And when I would have a negative thought, I would snap, attach the physical pain, and then or even say it out loud, just go stop and push that thought out and replace it with something positive. And by doing that, it takes time, but it's a tool that you can start to help rewire from the negative mindset to the positive mindset. That was definitely, I remember like being on site and working in the machines. And when I first got into that, I'd be snapping this thing nonstop. I was like, snap, and to a point now where I don't even need it. But yeah, it's definitely something that helped me create that change in that mindset side of things. Yeah.
Love it, man. And so the final question I have for you, what's one valuable piece of advice that you could give the listeners to help them reach their full potential, whether that be mentally, physically, or their life?
Investing in yourself. Yeah. Investing in yourself pays dividends tenfold, maybe not on monetary value all the time, but certainly, one that you're focusing your attention to. Honestly, it's rather amazing the power that we hold within ourselves. And it still amazes me now, right? But if you invest in yourself, it's kind of like watering a plant and fertilizing a plant. Think about that. The more you nurture it, the more it blossoms, the more it grows, and it thrives. But then there's the other side of it. If you overfeed and overwater, the plant dies, and then that's like a classic example of burnout, right? So it's all about that balance, like what we were talking about before, balance, straight up. But yeah, like focusing on that self-improvement, investing in yourself, whether it's learning a new skill, exploring, personal interest, building that ultimate body, or even working on the mindset. You know, we create a ripple effect that reaches far beyond ourselves. So, yeah, I'm 100% just jumping to investing in yourself. So, reading books, enrolling in classes, setting aside some meditation, self-reflection time, employ the expertise of coaches like ourselves. But, you know, the possibilities are endless, and the world really is our playground. So, yeah, every little step we take forwards towards bettering ourselves can have a massive impact on the lives of others. So it's that ripple effect, 100%.
Love it. And I guess I'm going to chuck in a sneaky question.
Go for it.
Do you reckon FIFO clients can achieve the results they want to achieve physically?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's commitment, it's determination. Yeah, look, people are working away. It can be more difficult. Fully understand that, but what do you really want in life? Like, you've got to really pay attention and go, I want these results. I want to feel better, show up better in the world. So just own it, step into it, understand, yeah, you might have to work a bit harder. But, you know, if you do everything easy in life, life's hard. But if you do the hard stuff in life, life becomes easier. So stepping into that harder stuff.
Love the quotes.
Yeah, I got so many quotes, man. My head's just full of them. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's 100% what I would sit into, and support, right? So even for me, having you on board has been awesome in the background every week, checking in on me, making sure that I'm doing what I'm saying I'm doing. And yeah, that support can be friends, family, coaches, whatever it might be. Having the conversations with some of these people, if it is friends and family, you know, asking them to try and support you. You might have a mate on site. For anyone that is in FIFO that's listening, try and bring them in, you know, like train together, hold each other accountable and go, right, we're going to go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week. I'll meet you here at that time. They'll tend to, won't tend to cancel on the other because they're like, oh, I can't let them down, so I've got to go. Yeah, but then you've got to be careful in that space too, because one might go, oh, we'll just have the night off. We'll just go to the bar for a sneaky one, and then the other one follows them.
Yeah, all right, then let's go.
Yeah, let's get on the beers, boys.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, right?
No, it doesn't have to be perfect. That's right. So look, maybe they just go twice a week for a swing, and then the next swing they do 3. Just like we were talking, baby steps, balance, all these things are really key to create the life that you really want and create that body that you really want and desire. Booyah!
Yeah. Well, man, I can't wait to see what we can do. And I'm sure we're going to have to do a recap when you lose even more weight and attain that dream pod. But thank you for spending some time today. Where can the listeners find you if they wanted to ask you questions and stuff? Was there a platform you use at the moment?
Yeah, so I'd give you the website, but that's getting rebuilt at the moment, so we won't do that one.
Yeah.
But even just on Facebook, jump on Levelhead. You'll see me and my mate there in the background. So that's a space that was even for myself, we're still very fresh into social media. A lot of my clients has been like word of mouth and then on site and that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, jump on that, LinkedIn. Yeah, you can just find me, Joshua Ellard or Joshua Watson Ellard. And yeah, if you guys want to jump in and work out exactly what it is that you want in life, find some clarity, find some direction, and really close the gap from where you are to where you want to be, especially in the mindset wise. And for the body, 100% go see Jeremy. That's not my expertise.
I love how we use the same analogy for bridging the gap between point A to point B. Like, that's literally what we do as coaches. We just bridge the gap. That's all we do.
Yeah. We've had a couple of synchronicities today, a couple of things that we didn't realize we aligned with. So yeah, it was really interesting.
Well, I love it, man. Well, once again, thank you so much for taking some time out. Guys, if you did find some value from this podcast, please make sure to share it with your friends and your family. Make sure to tag us as well. And once again, if you do have any questions to us individually, make sure to send us a message. If you ever want us to do another podcast, please ask us some questions. And I'm sure we will probably do another one very soon. All right. Thank you, guys.
Awesome.
Thanks, Josh.
Sweet, guys. See ya.